this and that, episode 142. In this one, I'm going to be a little bit different than usual. This is news clips, and for me, it is what I want to call Sunday is Funday. We've been bombarded with a lot of information about things happening in the Ukraine and that hilarious ICC warrant that was issued for Putin. And my Nazi stalker has been quite entertaining the past few days. And he's really going big now. And I just laugh. It is absolutely astounding how brainwashed the Western population has become. And many of them, the bulk, the majority, is unable to look the truth in the face. And when they're confronted with the truth, they either go into flat denial, or they get angry and they start swearing, and they call it fake news and they call it lies and so forth. But the facts speaks for itself. So in this episode, although there are some serious stuff here, I'm going to present it in a little bit of a light-hearted way. And I want to start off, as you know, I usually start off with the art, and I'm not going to criticize or evaluate or score this thing. Just look at it and see it for what it is and smile about it. That is quite a t-shirt. And then I watched a video on Telegram where Putin was meeting the president from Syria. And as usual, he came walking into the room and the two of them shake hands and then they sat down. And I look in the commentary and I find this comment there. Forget everything. I just love that gunslinger walk of Putin. And I had to laugh when I saw that. And I thought it was a good thing to share with you. Now we're getting to something a little bit more serious. And there was two videos circulating on Telegram. And the one was of two Ukrainian soldiers using pages from the Quran to make a fire. And the other one was of a Ukrainian soldier cutting pig lard on top of a Quran. Now, I didn't find it funny. I actually found it quite stupid, because the reality is that in the Russian forces are Christians and Muslims. Now, all of us know that the Muslims don't play. You make jokes about their religion. And then Ramzan Kadyrov issued this statement. The Chechen leader places a bounty on the Quran burner. The head of Russia's Chechen Republic, Ramzan Kadyrov, has offered a generous bounty for the elimination of suspected Ukrainian servicemen caught on video desecrating a Quran. The footage, which the Russian official reposted, shows two men in what appear to be Ukrainian military uniforms using pages from the Muslim holy book to start a fire. Taking to Telegram on Friday, Kadyrov insisted that merely issuing a formal condemnation of the Ukrainian vermin's action that recently burned pages from the Holy Quran would not be enough. I announce a reward of 5 million rubles for eliminating these scum, he wrote, adding that the bounty would be twice as high should the desecrator be captured alive. Now, if I'm that Quran burner, I'll be very, very, very nervous, because we have seen in the past many instances where the Chechen soldiers caught these Nazis. So, good luck for them. Let me get this This is quite, I liked it. There's quite a lot of videos, and I like it because I followed that Mariupol story well, and I have given you guys a lot of information about Mariupol and how Mariupol was really, it was a lot of damage. But the Russians are busy rebuilding that city at a hell of a speed. President Putin visits residents of the newly constructed building in Donbass. The Mariupol homeowners told the Russian leader, "It's a little piece of heaven now that we have here." Putin also inspected Mariupol's freshly renovated Philharmonic building, which was damaged during the fighting with Ukrainian militants. And then we get to this, and I have posted it previously, but I have to mention it again. German Chancellor Scholz calls on China to press Moscow to withdraw troops from Ukraine, also warning Beijing against supplying weapons to Russia. Now, what the hell is that? In the one hand, they ask the Chinese to assist, and on the other hand, they condemn them. But the West is in deep trouble, and they know it. The relationship between Russia and China is something that the West never took into calculation. And now they have got a major problem, and they don't know how to get out of it. It's going to be fun to see this. And then we get from my favorite Russian lady from the Foreign Ministry, Maria Zakharov. Russia responds to Danish Nord Stream probe refusal. Denmark has never been interested in finding the real culprits behind the explosions that destroyed the Russian Nord Stream pipelines last September, Foreign Ministry spokeswoman Maria Zakharova has claimed. She noted that the Copenhagen had dragged its feet on granting permission for the second leg of the gas conduit and is refusing to cooperate with Moscow now that it has been sabotaged. Fact is that you guys must stop it, and if you want to read the whole thing, the reality around that is absolutely hilarious. There is strong evidence that Denmark assisted the Americans in blowing up that gas pipeline. But take this into consideration. The day after that pipelines were blown up, the Danish pipeline to Poland was opened, and they made a big song and dance of how they are now reducing their dependence on Russian gas. But who's making the money? The Danes are making the money, and plus they refuse to sell bad gas at a discount. They said they supply at market prices. And then we get to this, and you have to laugh. And I have reported it, and I'm just going to mention it quickly again. Piers Morgan was of the opinion that Women's Day need to be cancelled until the definition of a woman is restored. And here he had two of these gender-confused chicks with him in the studio, and he said to them, "Why can't I, on International Women's Day, say, I am Piers Morgan, I am a black lesbian?" And there was a lot of laughing about this, and it was actually hilarious. And here is my contribution to this topic. This is a woman. Take it from me, this is a woman. And then we get to Germany. We do not have armed forces that are defensively capable, that is, it cannot protect against an offensive, brutally waged war. The German Defense Ministry Pistorius admitted Berlin's army is worse for wear in the German parliament. But who paid attention to it? Nobody. They keep on stoking the fires in Ukraine. And that Ukraine war can very easily spill over into Europe. And then we get to this, and you have to laugh at it, and I'm reprinting it for the simple reason that it is, although it is hilarious, it is actually sad. China is teaching their kids quantum physics and calculus, while America is teaching our kids gender pronouns and how to twerk from a drag queen. This isn't going to end well, and I agree 100% with that. And then we have more. And this is something that you must see in perspective. Iran to supply China with 15,000 drones, the official says. Now, it's actually quite informative that Iran is supplying drones to China. But my Nazi stalker, he's of the opinion that Russia is begging Turkey for Bayraktar drones. The reality is, Russia makes its own drones and it gets its drones from Iran. And the Russian drones is absolutely a scary thing to see for the Ukrainian air defense systems. And then we get to Blinken. US Secretary of State Blinken admits China's peace plan has some positive elements. Best we can expect from Blinken. He's not allowed to say it's good. The reality here is just simply this. There's no way that the West will ever be able to play a prominent role in a peace process in Ukraine. They've lost all their credibility. And this one made me laugh. We're not sure, this was published by the Taliban Public Relations Department. We're not sure why Americans dislike us. Your troops fled, leaving behind billions of dollars in equipment. We did not request an invasion. You came like homosexual gangsters with your expensive equipment, but you were chased back minus your equipment. We are blameless. And you can stop the video and look at this list of equipment the Americans left there. This is scary, boys. And it is a blemish that will sit on the Americans forever, what they did here. I mean, it is scary, the equipment they left behind. But they are the world rulers. And then we get this, and this is something that you should take note of. The Russian Mir payment system may be launched in Iran soon. Iranian Deputy Minister of Tourism. Central banks of Russia and Iran are already working on this project. We hope that there will be a result soon. Russian payment system can currently be used in Abkhazia, Armenia, Belarus, Vietnam, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, South Korea, South Ossetia, and Cuba. Now, many of the guys that are listening to me here will most probably not even be able to find those countries on a world map. But you should take note. That's a substantial piece of the world's population. And then this one, and I'm including this because this is from a video that was trashed by the channel. The average beachgoer in 1960s was lean, healthy, and full of energy. They also didn't do keto, didn't track macros, didn't track their steps, had no idea what intermittent fasting was. They just ate real food and went outside. And that is something we should take note of. And then we get to this joke. We all know that Putin has been issued, there's a warrant out for his arrest for war crimes by the ICC. I'll do another skid mark on that. I have done one, but I'll do another one because there's some interesting information that has come out now. But look at this. A reminder. The death of 500,000. Take note. 500,000 Iraqi children was a very difficult decision, but we believe the price is worth it. Madeleine Albright. Think about that for a moment. Just think about that. 500,000 Iraqi children killed by the Americans, and they say it was worth it. They are going to pay for this shit. And then we get to these three. These three war criminals invaded 9 countries and murdered over 11 million innocent civilians over a 20-year period. Where was the International Criminal Court? And let that sink in. 11 million people killed by these three. These Americans, They must not expect any mercy from the rest of the world. They are killers. That's what they are. And then we get this, and Garland Nixon made this tweet. NATO, we will supply money and weapons to Ukraine even if it means starvation, misery and death to our citizens. And then there's a picture of their citizens. And we have to, this is actually hilarious, but we have to take note of it. This is crazy what is going on in the world. And then we get to that moment, to that favorite informer of mine, that Zatsi Stoker. And he makes this post to me. Putin seil daarom nou op sy maag rond voor Erdogan. Maak moerse beloftes van gasaanlegte in Turkye. Hy soek ook Briekmerke drones. Die goed vernietig hom te veel. Maar Israel voorsien nou baie beter drones aan Zelensky. Ek het lankal gewag daarvoor. And shortly in English what he says is that Putin is crawling on his belly in front of Erdogan and making promises about gas for Turkey, and he begs for Briekmerke drones because the Briekmerkes are causing a lot of damage to Russia. But Israel is now providing much better drones to Zelensky. And the Zatsi says he has been waiting a long time for this. Now, I would like to bust his bubble for him. News of the day. Chagri Erhan, a member of the Council for Security and Foreign Policy under the President of Turkey and director of the Altinbaş University, said that Ukraine had asked Turkey to supply certain types of weapons and this request was rejected. According to the information received from Russian sources, we are talking about the supply of Western-made armored vehicles as well as Mi-17 helicopters. So take that, Zatsi Stoker, and think about it. But I think you will have to stop the video and reread this. The information might be too quick for you. And then we get this one. Washington demands from Tel Aviv to increase support for Kiev. The day before Israel, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu held a meeting to discuss the provision of military assistance to Ukraine. According to the Israeli press, no decisions were made at the meeting regarding the supply of weapons to Ukraine. And now my Zatsi Stoker, here is the president from Israel saying the thing. Israel explains the reluctance to arm Ukraine. Israel is not supplying Ukraine with any weapons because it's bound by certain agreements with Russia over neighboring Syria, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said on Thursday. Netanyahu acknowledged that Israel had found itself in a complex situation. Several years ago, he had decided to stop Iran, Israel's enemy, from creating a third front against the Jewish state on its northern border. To prevent that, we used air power. To do that, we had an arrangement struck with the Russian government and with the Russian Air Force and the Russian army in Syria that we do not shoot down each other's planes, he noted, adding that no other European country supporting Ukraine had similar circumstances in their relations with Moscow. Now, my Zatsi Stoker, how's that? So, and I thought, you were informed. You said Israel is supplying weapons to Ukraine. Apparently not. And then we have this from Putin, this meme. Putin, 95% of the world terrorist attacks are made by the CIA. The CIA does not work on behalf of the American people or act in their interest. The CIA is a rogue element of the deep state and an expression of the will of the world oligarchy and their vision for a new world order. But we all know Putin is busy dismantling that globalists, slowly but surely. And then we have this meme, and this is something that is serious. Explain why she should be a minority in her own country. Europeans are being displaced in their own lands by diversity and multiculturalism. That is tragic. But it's a reality and it's happening, and the Europeans allowed that leadership to do it to them. And then we get to this, and I had to laugh, and you must laugh as well. Airlines say Chinese have an unfair advantage flying over Russia. I'm not going to read all of it, and the short and the sweet is, the Chinese airlines and some of the other Eastern airlines, when they have to fly from the east to the west, they fly over Russia, where the West has got sanctions that makes it impossible for their airlines to fly through Russian airspace. And now you get this. Between Paris and Seoul, it can add up to 3 hours in flight time, Smith told Financial Times. If you've got a Chinese carrier that is flying over Russia, they've got an unfair advantage over us. Boo! Let's cry for them. I don't feel nothing for them. That is part of Joe Biden's ill-conceived Operation Boomerang in action there. And we have more. Borrell, the rejection of Russian oil could seriously destabilize the market. Well, Einstein, can you have more? Can you believe it? Rejection of Russian oil could seriously destabilize the market. I have to laugh. They are past and beyond stupid, these guys. And then this is a reminder for my Zazi stalker. The future of Ukraine wanted for children in a breakaway Donetsk and Lugansk. October 2014. Petro Poroshenko, the Ukraine president from 2014 to 2019. Our children will go to schools and kindergartens. Their kids will sit in basements, bomb shelters. This is how we will win the war. Now, if that is not a Zazi statement, what is? And we've got some more disturbing nonsense from the Ukraine. More than 500 bodies of mercenaries and militants of the armed forces of Ukraine found in mine in Poland. In Poland, in the Berdonska coal mine, which is 40 kilometers from the border with Ukraine, a burial ground for the bodies of military was found. This is reported by the host of the channel, one Russian Ostasko, in his telegram. Now, I've spoken about this previously. They found a train with with these refrigeration carriages close to the Moldovan border, also packed full of Ukrainian soldiers. And I have read articles that there is now a movement inside Ukraine. The Ukrainian people are beginning to wake up to what the hell is happening, and they are planning a major demonstration for the 24th, I think for the 24th of March. In Kiev, they want answers from the Kiev government to where are their soldiers. And I have read articles where soldiers, Ukrainian soldiers, said that the Ukrainian government does not collect the dead soldiers on the front, and they do not report to the families that those soldiers are dead. They report them as missing in action, so they don't have to pay out compensation to the families. The cookie is crumbling in Ukraine. And then we get a little bit more from that idiot Blinken. The United States is confident that they are the masters of the world, and all other countries must obey them completely. For example, America can supply weapons to Ukraine, China cannot supply to Russia. Idiots. And more. The US Secretary of State, Blinken, threatened Wang Yi, head of the Office of the Commission of Central Committee of the Communist Party of China on Foreign Affairs, about the consequences that could come for China if it provides material support to Russia. What do you know? Blinken threatens the Chinese. They're in for a rude awakening. And some more hilarious bullshit from This is supposed to be the #1 diplomat of the West. US Secretary of State Blinken will not meet with Russian or Chinese foreign ministers during the Group 20 meeting in New Delhi. And the kindergarten kids are playing again in the room where the adults are meeting. And they are rowdy, and they are noisy, and as with all kids that are out of control, a few slaps is needed to get them back into line and discipline and show respect. And then we get this. I'm not going to read it all, you can read it. It's Trump and the Santos. They are the front runners for the Republicans in the upcoming presidential race, and both of them have made it clear they're going to cut Ukraine off because America needs that money for itself. And that should make Zelensky very nervous. And when we get them today, I've got 2 what the fucks for you. And they are very appropriate. And this is also from that video that was scrapped by this channel. Me. It's not like Gen Z can do anything more weirder. Gen Z responds. Woman who married herself is now divorcing herself after meeting someone else. Now, how much more evidence do you want to confirm that these people, and I've got a problem in calling them people, but in any case, these beings are nothing else but severely mentally disturbed. And then we have something to smile about. Just passed my driving test. My examiner, Paul, said the man I hit when I went through the red light should really have been more careful crossing the road. And I wonder why. This was Sunday, Funday, and let's laugh about the news. And my Zazi stalker, I wish him good luck, and he must please supply me with some more material. I really appreciate it. And to you, thank you very much for your support. I really appreciate that. And the channel shows growth. Please give me a like, subscribe, and more important, share these things, please. The algorithms are keeping my stuff under the blankets, and it's by sharing that we can break out of there. Have a great day, and it is Sunday, and there's no load shedding today, apparently. I don't know for what reason, but we will have to braai.